Hello, welcome back to Otter Pop Culture. Today we're going to be going over the recently came out, literally today, Betty by Betty Who album. And I actually been kind of waiting for this album. I'm interested to see what she can do as an independent artist. So if anybody that doesn't know, I want to say after, what was the album called before it? With what your mama said and everything. When that album came out, after that album, she decided to say goodbye to her record company that she was part of, and started doing her own thing as an independent artist. So I think that's kind of cool. And her songs kind of came in like afterward, and she released an EP called Betty Part 1, and she released some of the singles and everything. So it was kind of interesting to see what she was going to do by herself, but it kind of still sounds like she's still doing her sound that she usually does. It's just more, it pretty much sounds like she's doing the same thing of herself. It's just now fully in her control, which is very cool. So let's start off and go through the album. I'll tell you about what I thought about it and my favorite songs, my least favorite songs, and everything. So starting off, the album is called Old Me, and this one I took a minute to actually get into because I listened to it twice. I don't really feel it. I get the gist of the song. I feel like she's a great songwriter. She has when she writes about stuff, it's really great, but I feel like the beat sometimes doesn't really match up to how great the writing is, So this writing is great the song called Old Me. It's pretty much about how she was a wreck the day before, and then after the breakup, and she woke up the next day and she's like, I'm fixing it. I'm going to be different now. I'm going to try to bring back the old me, and I'm brand new type of person. So I thought that was kind of cool. So the next song is Do With It. So this one's a very sexy one. I felt like it was kind of cool because I feel like she never really goes towards it. She winks towards the sexy, but she never really goes directly until now. And so I love the beat, and I love how sexy she's doing it. Kind of like a curious, let's just see where it goes kind of a song. The next song is Just Thought You Should Know, which is on her Betty Part 1 EP. It was the first song, which is, I actually love this song because it kind of remember it. I don't know why, but it reminds me. Actually, no, I know exactly why. Because of the beat, it sounds it's very 80s, and it reminds me a lot of She Drives Me Crazy. I don't know who sings it, but it's like, she drives me crazy. So it sounds like that. It sounds exactly like the beat sounds kind of like that, and it's fun, and it gives you that kind of the 80s nostalgia, which is funny that I would say that a lot of people my generation like 80s nostalgia. It was like we weren't even born in the 80s, but it's just it's in our face so often that we kind of get the gist of what the nostalgia feel is. Anyway, but it's one of my favorite songs off the album. It's really good. The next song is another one of my favorites, which is I Remember, and I saw the music video. It's with the alien boyfriend that she was with, and the song is very happy. It's very bubbly, and it reminds me of her old Betty, but not old Betty. It reminds me of it's the true blue Betty that you kind of remember, and just upbeat, fun, and it's a fun song. I love it. So the next song is called Marry Me. And I like this song. It's very sweet. And it's funny because if you follow her on Instagram, she recently got engaged. And I think it was one of her closest friends. And it was just it was a really cute moment. If you ever find it, look it up and everything. It's a really cute moment when he proposes to her and everything. It's super cute. I think they're at a party or something, or at some get together, and he just proposes there. And it's really cute. So I feel like this song is an ode to that moment. And so you get all the kind of waves of emotion that she kind of felt throughout the whole time. And so that. So that was really cute. The next song is Language, which I thought was one of the weirdest. Well, for me personally, I thought it was very weird because it's a good song, but I couldn't move away from the fact that the sound sounded so familiar. The beat sounded so familiar. The sound sounded so familiar. I was like, "What is this song?" And I started hearing it, and the more I started hearing, the more I realized. So this is the beat and sound is a complete sample of "Always" by Great Good Fine and Okay. Great Good Fine Okay. So they're a band which I really love. And they do a lot of remixes and everything, so I'm sure they gave this to her as like a thing to use for her song, but it's distractingly on that song. The song is good, I cannot move away from the fact that that song is and heavily sampled into it. Moving on, the next song is Taste. Taste is a really good song. I love the song. It's so sensual. It's the first sensual song that she released since her being independent, and I love it. I think it's kind of like a very innocent like falling into your like temptations, like the fact that this person's bad for her, but she still wants to do stuff with him, kind of thing. It's very fun. All This Woman is the next song, and I like the different sound. I love how sexual it is, and it's just very like, are you ready for All This Woman kind of thing. I will say that there's a part in the chorus where All This Woman gets very, very, very repetitive, and so I don't really care for that. I think it's kind of weird. I think it's kind of tiresome at some times, but once it moves on, it sounds okay. Next song is Between You and Me. Between You and Me, I like that song. I like the song because it's very cute, and I love the music video. The music video definitely amped it up even more. So I liked it. I love the sound. It's one of the more relaxed type of sounds where it kind of just goes much more acoustic, like closer to acoustic direction, and it's really nice. The next song is Ignore Me. So there's a lot of songs, like if you've noticed so far, there's a lot of songs like Just So Thought You Should Know, I Remember, Taste, Between You and Me, Ignore Me. Those were on the part one of Betty. So it's songs that we already heard, but I haven't talked to you, so we're gonna get into it. So the Ignore Me was the very, very, very first song that she released after telling people that she's an independent artist now. And I liked it. It was good. It's much more negative than she usually does. But I like this. I love the way that she sings. Like, I'll kind of like da 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 da. Like I like that part. I like when she kind of like she does in a lot of her parts of like a good handful of the songs in here where she kind of chops the syllables of it or kind of like just ride with that kind of beat, and I love it. Next song is Whisper, which I like because it reminds me of Take Me With You, the very first album. So that was a really good. Remind me of that one, so I really like that one. There's not really much I can really say much of it other than the fact that I like that the beat does pick up more as it goes on. The next song, which is one of the biggest my favorite song off the album because I was so surprised of how it sounds, which is something I've been dying for somebody to do, and finally she actually did it, and I knew she was getting to that point because she did Mama Say, and that was a nod to Britney Spears sound, with the whole like when the chorus and the bridge kind of comes together and mingles together. Like the way I can explain it is to just kind of just do it. So my loneliness is killing me. So when they go to that part and then they go to when she goes to the bridge and she's like, my loneliness is killing me now. So but that part will go like kind of form with it, like will kind of mingle with it as the chorus is going, undertone would be the bridge with it. So that's what she does in this one, and it sounds so great, and it's very in sync, very Britney Spears, and the whole sound is very Britney Spears. Like it's very dun 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 kind of thing with the piano intensity and the explosions and everything of sound and everything. I think it's kind of cool. So it's one of my favorite songs. I think it's the top favorite song of the whole thing, the whole album. And finally, and last but not least, is Stop Thinking About You, which the thing is, I'm still getting into exactly what it means, but I love it because it ends you off, the whole album ends you off with a nice release of nice, like, smooth endings and everything, and it's very dreamy sound, and I really like it. And so in this album, I want to give it a 7 out of 10, because I feel like we have a lot of songs that we've already heard already, which are great, but it's kind of like if the movie was showing you all the death scenes in it already, or all the great intense scenes in it already, so you kind of move on. You're like, okay, so I seen this part, I know that part was coming, I knew that part was coming, I knew that part was coming, but one thing I did not know was coming was The One, the song called The One, which was very Britney Spears, very NSYNC sound. So that was amazing. I'm so glad she kept that like hidden. I'm hoping though that now that she has released it onto the album, that it becomes a music video, because I think she would just have so much fun with it. I think that she would actually be ahead of her time with the sound that's going on, because no one else right now is everybody's touching on the 90s. But after they just got done with the 80s, so now we're moving on to the more 90 feel of everything, what people are getting on a train for, but they have not gone to... She took the initiative to go into early 2000s, where she's doing, like, or late 90s, where she's going for, like, that Britney Spears, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys kind of sound, which I think if she really takes that and applies it, she's going to really be ahead of her game, and I think that's going to be very beneficial for her. So that's it. So tell me in the comments below, tell me what you liked about the album, what you didn't like about the album, what you're excited about, what songs do you think are going to be a great music video if they haven't been one already. And I hope everybody has a great weekend, and I'll see you guys in the next video.